watching Superskum.com. I'm Carlos Raleigh. I'm here with Butcher Babies. We got Carla and we Heidi. Thank you so much, ladies, for giving us a little bit of your time. We really appreciate it, and letting us bug you with a few questions. Hopefully, they'll be interesting for the fans, and we'll have fun with those.
Cool.
You're touring, of course, Mayhem Festival right now, and you're celebrating the release, the upcoming release of your debut album, Goliath, right?
Yep.
July 9th. What are the expectations basically for the new album?
Well, the new album basically is Butcher Babies. Everything that we represent is on that album. From the beginning of our career till now, most of us, we started writing that album years ago. Some of us before the band even started, bits and pieces here and there. And it's great because this is a collaboration of every single one of us. So it is a true testament of what we really are. And it's an honest album. We had full creative control over the writing, the recording, everything. So this is us. You get to hear us. No one else was writing our music. It was us. So
we worked with an incredible producer, Josh Wilbur, who worked with Lamb of God and Gojira, and he really pushed us to be the best that we could be, each one of us individually. And it was when we were done recording, I think all of us had a little bit of, we were like, we want to go to the studio today. We can't be done yet. We want to go back. We actually missed it. It was such a good experience.
Yeah, bittersweet.
And then you said, I even read previous interviews, you said you've had stuff you've written when you were 12 and that you're using for this new record. And so it's been in the making for many, many years. And how did it all come about? Because, you have the EP and now this culmination. How was it, you said working with Wilbur, of course, as well.
Yeah.
How was that process, that creative process? What was the input for each member of the band in making this album happen with such a history for it?
The great thing about this band is that there's no real rhyme or reason, as to the way things are written. Someone will walk in with an idea, whether it be, one of us or one of the boys will walk in with an idea and we'll be like, yeah, and we'll just build. I know that, Carla and I both have been keeping journals of lyrics for years. I have this green binder that I carry with me, like you said, since I was 11, 12, and I can look back and I see different poems or lyrics that I had written throughout my life that really bring back the emotion that I felt when I was writing those. So it was cool. We if Carla came with a lyric or I came with a lyric, we could really build off of each other. Carla and I are a lot alike.
Yeah, it's great because now we can kind of finish each other's sentences when we're writing a song. Sorry, forgive my voice. I have a very hoarse voice today. But when we write,
thank you for that.
I'll have a line, and then she'll have the perfect line to go with it. We've been writing together. We've been working together for 5 years, so we're like sisters, and we are very much alike. We grew up a little bit differently, but the feelings that we have inside of us are so similar. That's why we were attracted to each other in the first place. So it's awesome to write together and work together.
Yeah, it's easy.
I have a quote from your own record label, so kind of a little bit of a philosophical analysis, if you will, here. But, Century Media calls you, and I quote, the perfect anti-heroes for today's lackluster corporate music scene.
Actually, I wrote that.
You wrote that one?
Yes,
so
I wrote that.
You were giving credit to the wrong person in this case. Well, even though that's even better that we have the actual writer here, how and why do you actually perceive this?
Well, we're anti-heroes for sure. We were the underdogs. Nobody wanted us to succeed, and we did. So
that's absolute truth. People, initially, people don't think that females should really be involved in, the metal community. But I think for us, we were going out there as underdogs, proving that we can rock just as hard or harder than, the men or, people that feel like they deserve to be there.
We also saw this empty space in the music business where people were, going there, either had a show or they were playing, decent music and just standing there. And we wanted to bring back a little bit of theatrical appeal, to music. And that was really important to us. So,
I wanted to talk about something that's kind of original in the sense that we have a lot of female metalheads, and highly esteemed female metalheads. And I know that you guys come up with new ideas for merchandise. You design some clothing items and all that. And I wanted you to talk a little bit about that because it's good that we're going beyond the typical 2 t-shirt, 2 girly shirt choices that female metalheads have usually in the shows. What is it? Who designed it? What's available? You have new stuff for the Mayhem Festival as well. Can you talk a little bit about that?
Absolutely. I mean, this is coming from two females who have been in different careers and different things, but always loved the music. And we both are designers in different rights, and we know what girls like. Metalhead girls, I say normal isn't a different term, but non-metalheads, not normal. That's stupid, but you know what I mean. That the non-metalheads who maybe like the design but don't necessarily know the music. But some girls, their boyfriends drag them to the show, and some girls are dragging their boyfriends to the show, and they want to get the stuff. So I think we know as females what the I guess the gender really likes.
And I would also say that Heidi and I, we have very similar tastes, but at the same time we're very different in some ways. I prefer more masculine designs, and I think she likes the more feminine stuff. So we're able to kind of pick from both worlds and have a great merch line, I think.
From your personal perspective, how do you see the female metalhead community expanding? Like, how are they challenging those social roles, those expectations that you say, of course, the male domination, the patriarchal type of inclination, but it's all about music in the end, of course. But we throw gender in there because, we're a fucked up society. So,
ditto. Bingo, you hit it right on the head. This is regardless of, gender or where you grew up or what you look like or anything. I mean, this is something you feel on the inside. Metal is something you feel on the inside, and that's why I think every single member of our band gravitated towards the metal music as children because of the passion. I didn't like it because boys liked it. I liked it because I liked it. In fact, none of the boys I knew liked it. I grew up.
Or it's the same for us.
No boys I knew. They were all into that hip hop crap, and I was, no one in my family, no one really liked the metal. And I know Carla grew up the exact same way.
I think metal attracts misfit people, and that's a good thing. It's good to be different. It's good to not fit into the social norm. And for whatever reason, like I said, metal attracts that. And ever since I was a kid, I loved metal, and same as. Sorry, I'm having such a hard time talking today.
No, please.
I have this much voice left, and I'm giving it to you.
You recently toured with OTEP. And
we did OTEP last summer.
Yeah, 2012, and also with One Eyed Doll, and then you toured with Marilyn Manson.
Yes.
So, as a band, and then individually, sorry to make you talk more, how was that experience, those two tours, especially the OTEP one, which was very unique and very good?
OTEP was interesting because it was a really long tour. It was our first tour, and it was 2 months long. And we had to learn how to all get along in a small, confined area, the tour bus. So it was a great learning experience. And obviously we're all still together, so we did it. And OTEP's crowd is really unique. It's a very niche crowd.
It is, yeah.
And it's very metal and, like I said, very niche. And we figured if we could make her audience like us, we could make any audience like us. And they were very well received. And in fact, today out in the crowd, we saw tons of people who saw us first on that OTEP tour, which is really cool.
For me, I grew up listening to OTEP, and I was a huge fan of OTEP before the tour. So when we had the offer, I was like, so excited.
We couldn't believe it.
And I was out there every night after our set, rocking to her songs because
we both were. It was the funniest thing ever. She would always close with Nirvana, Breed, and me and Heidi would do the most ridiculous dancing in the back.
We always have choreographed dances to everything.
We would have a couple shots by that time, and that was our time to dance and have fun, let loose.
But then with Marilyn Manson, it was a completely different level. That is where I think that we really learned the ins and outs of touring. It was in the middle of winter, January in Canada. -40 here and there. You really have to be a solid band with a solid. You have to want it to be in that position, and we're traveling in an RV, driving our own stuff, and so it's not like we have bus drivers to drive us everywhere. You really have to want it. But we've, touring with Marilyn Manson, he's a huge icon and a huge, he's a legend. And not only that, but we all are so hugely influenced by Marilyn Manson. Every single one of us name him as an influence. In fact, Chrissy, our drummer, he's obsessed. If you look at him, you can tell he's obsessed with Manson. And so for us, that was just such an honor, but also such a learning experience. And I wouldn't have wanted to spend my winter any other way.
No. And this is hard too. You know, it was 113 degrees in Phoenix when we played there the other day. So this is also a good learning experience for us too.
Even Jill from The Huntress is suffering heat stroke right now.
In fact, we are not going to tour unless it's extreme conditions.
Yeah, from now on.
Only 100 degrees
The worst
and above.
of the worst.
Yeah.
No, it's cool though, because we've definitely, we've gone out in all the extremes. Now we can conquer it all. Woo! Bring it on.
You're doing all that.
Bring it on, Mother Nature.
Regarding your stage show, and I do personally, it was my choice, but I do want to point out that just going beyond the electrical tape and focusing more, which by the way was an homage to Wendy O with punk music. We know that by now. 5 years in the making. You got boring. Okay, we're done with that one because I know you've been talking about this forever.
Yeah,
but I want to focus more on something else that a lot of people miss because of just a little tiny pieces of electrical tape. What's the meaning and inspiration behind the horror-inspired, if you will, antics on stage that you guys have?
I think everyone in Butcher Babies, I'll speak for all of us when I say this, that we're all attracted to things that scare us. If you listen to our music, there's a lot of songs, focused on the emotions that you feel when you're frightened, and that's, to us, we're really attracted to it, and with Rob Zombie, with the horror theme with that too, it was something that influenced all of us. We all love horror-based, horror films, the music that goes into it,
the band's name,
the feeling that you have when you're frightened, because there's a weird attraction to that. And anyone who says that they're not, they're lying, because there's a weird attraction. I'm afraid of the dark. I am afraid of the dark.
She's afraid of snakes
and everything. But you know what? When it comes to watching movies, I'll have to turn it off just to freak myself out. We're all attracted to what scares us. Why else would we go see scary movies? And we really wanted to embrace that and involve it in our art.
Now, speaking about the set list right now, are you including the very famous cover for Fucking Hostile? Was it? Yeah, it was Fucking Hostile Pantera. Or you just
we love doing that song, but we have so many new great songs that we need to get those out there before we start playing covers.
Fucking Hostile was it's so much fun for all of us to play. In fact, Carla and I ran a band prior to Butcher Babies, and we wanted to play that with our old band. And those musicians could not figure out for the life of them how to move their fingers in that way. So we're like, all right, well, so we tried it with this band, and it was really fun. And I think that Fucking Hostile is a perfect representation of our band. We're a party band. We have a lot of fun. Fuck this, fuck that. Fucking Hostile. Everything we do, it's chaotic but organized at the same time. And Pantera is a huge inspiration for every single one of us. So that was a perfect, unleashing of Butcher Babies to the public was Fucking Hostile. But yeah, we haven't played that in years, but maybe in the future when we're bored with our own music, we'll play it again.
And Carla, I hate to make you talk a little bit more. I know, but you actually, in a very peculiar way, you have a degree in mortuary science, and you're a licensed funeral director and embalmer.
Yes.
Which is very peculiar. Nothing wrong with it. No stigma. So a lot of
well, it goes back to
being creepy.
Being attracted to things you're scared of. Death is the most scary thing in the world to me. The most terrifying thing, and that's why I was attracted to it. That's why I went to school to learn that, and that's why I work in the funeral industry. Or I did. I can't now. I'm too busy with this little band thing.
What inspired you, to choose this professional inclination? Because, you've done singing, acting, comedy, writing, hosting, modeling, everything.
I have always been fascinated by death since I was a kid, genuinely fascinated with it. And I came out to LA to work in the entertainment industry, and I became disenchanted with it. I worked for Playboy, hated it, didn't want anything else to do with entertainment business after I worked for Playboy. Yeah. So I went to school and I said, what do I really want to do? What was one of my first loves? And that was death. So I went to mortuary school, got my degree, worked in a funeral home, and I absolutely loved it. If I could go back to it, I would. Maybe someday I will.
You write comic books.
I do.
You have right now Soul Sucker, then you have
the Butcher Babies, and then I have another one that comes out in the fall, hopefully. Death Dealers. Comic books and heavy metal go hand in hand to me. I love comic books. When I was a kid, I wanted to write comic books and be in a metal band. So I get to do both now, which is fucking awesome.
We really, really appreciate giving us a little bit of your time. We wish you the best success with the new record when it comes out as well. And thank you so much for the effort with the voice. And enjoy the rest of the.
It's not like a kid going through puberty over here. Sorry.
No,
She is.
I'm growing my balls.
absolutely. Thank you so much, ladies. Really appreciate it.
Thank you.
Thank you, Heidi. Thank you, Carlos.